from absolutely disregarding the narrative fans have given him to only having eyes on the win and nothing else. Here's why Jimmy Butler doesn't want to get into the Hall of Fame. Playoff Jimmy isn't all too happy with how NBA fans have given him this special title. According to the Star, there's really no reason why anyone should call him that. I know, guys, Butler tends to really push his boundaries and showcase his skills during the postseason. But for him, it's only a part of the process. Someone's been drinking the humble juice, am I right?
Bam and Jokic, that's about it.
Butler already with 18.
In fact, the champ has even talked about this on many occasions. He said, this playoff Jimmy narrative isn't a thing. So what's the man's motivation? Well, he wants to win, of course. Butler thinks that it's only, and I mean only, about the team. You know, when they're out there on the court wearing the same colors, they're one. Talk about being a true team player.
Immediately, look at this cut.
So, if it's not something related to the team, our man doesn't want to have anything to do with it. And yes, that includes individual awards. I know it's getting a little too extreme, but hear me out, guys. For Butler, it's basketball this, basketball that, and he's really nowhere without his team. So if the man wants to go after collective victories instead of striving for individual records, who's stopping him? Folks, it takes a big man to value a team above all else. Now, with all this in mind, don't you think it would make sense that Jimmy Butler is a little iffy about his induction into the Hall of Fame? To be perfectly clear, he simply doesn't care. And that's a first, isn't it? We're so used to players only caring about their achievements that sometimes teams get left behind in the dust. But that's not what Butler is about. In an interview with Jaron Greenberg, the star player laid out his feelings clearly. In his own words, it's an individual thing. I'm not for the individual type stuff.
It's an individual thing. You know, I'm not for the individual type stuff. I'm really not. I'm like a team guy.
And it's not like he's making a political statement with this. If the committee elects him for this honor, the ball will be in the player's court, pun intended. So it's going to be up to him what he decides to do. Makes sense, I guess. Fear of missing out? Butler's never heard of that. The player also said that he's not at all worried about the Hall of Fame. There's no disrespect going on here, though. Butler is well aware of the fact that this honor is huge. People strive for it for so long and still fall short.
Is that Bam's fourth foul?
That is Bam Adebayo's fourth foul.
And Bam right there got a little bit aggressive.
But to quote the man himself, I couldn't care less. And there's no reason behind it as well. He's a team player, but a Hall of Fame induction isn't a team award. It's as simple as that. Get this though, many people are still having trouble wrapping their heads around it. And who can blame them? Have you seen the player's resume? It's filled to the brim with big time achievements. I mean, just during these playoffs, he's averaged 27.2 points, has 6.6 rebounds, and 5.9 assists per game. Best believe the numbers are only gonna go up from here. Oh, and how could I forget? He even went 56 and 42 in back-to-back games against Milwaukee. Now here's a guy who's on a roll, and if he continues like this, he's definitely going to be induction worthy. On top of all this, he's also remained a 6-time NBA All-Star, has been in the All-NBA team 5 times, and is also a 5-time NBA All-Defensive Second Team honoree. That's one hell of a portfolio, am I right? But pageantry and celebrating his individual achievements, you better keep all of that away from the star. Of course, no one's sure if there's really an induction headed his way, but even if there is, it won't matter to the Miami Heat star.
That power forward, there's Jimmy Butler again. Gets ahead and in back of that Milwaukee defense.
With this mindset, the star's only focusing on his game and his performance. That's actually a pretty cool way to go about things, don't you think? Because if he's not thinking about an individual honor, he's not going to care about individual stats. So that's going to keep him from making selfish decisions on the court. Hall of Fame is the farthest thing on his mind. So what will the champ do if he does get selected for the honor? He's simply not going to go. Why? Because all the fanfare is going to make him uncomfortable. Instead, he'd much rather put his feet in the sand. You know, relax and get ready for his next game.
Butler into traffic, somehow gets underneath Hart, gets the bucket and a foul.
We all know there won't be any of that at the induction ceremony, so his mind is made. No one can do anything to change that. Just like Greenberg, fans were shook when these words left the player's mouth. A player saying, "No, thank you," to the biggest honor in the world of basketball. Now, you don't see that every day. Believe it or not, there were actually mixed reactions to this news. Some fans called him the ultimate teammate. They even pointed out that life is so much more than these material things, and that the Hall of Fame was a bit too overrated now. Maybe it's not special enough for the player, but others thought it was all cap.
46 points for Jimmy Butler. Sets up on 3. Good!
Majority wasn't ready to believe that someone would be willing to let this great honor pass them by. They said it was all an exaggeration and that Butler was overdoing it a little bit with his whole team spirit thing. Chances are that once he retires, he'll be able to reflect on it and maybe change his mind.
Portis guards Butler, hesitates, and hits Jimmy Butler to the free throw line.
for a three-point opportunity.
Someone even said that the play was disrespectful towards the game. How do you make that leap? Now, folks, let's make some room for the controversial reactions. Did you know a whole bunch of people think the player's not even worthy of being inducted? Now, that's a shocker. One Twitter user said, "He's not a Hall of Famer. He can be a solid player when it matters. Could be the most improved player in a decade maybe, but a Hall of Famer? I just don't see it." Ouch, that's harsh.
Gets the ball and it's off to the races. He knows he's going to get hit. Concentration.
You think he's not a good enough player? Well, his recent performances had everyone wondering that, but in a good way. Let's not forget that the champ carried his team to the NBA Finals 2 times in the last 4 seasons. Not bad, huh? And let me just add this. The roster he was working with wasn't out of this world, especially compared to their competition.
It's Middleton, another turnover. Picked up by Hero. Look who's wide open at the other end. Butler puts it through, and he's got 8.
Butler has taken on more of an underdog type role. Get this, it's where he seems to survive big time. I know, his stints with previous teams haven't been exactly memorable, but the champ is getting there. That's for sure. Think about it. Is the Jimmy Butler of today the same as the Jimmy Butler who played for Minnesota? I don't think so. I guess it took him some time to find the right team for himself. And after the short period he spent with Philadelphia, turned out that third time was really the charm. It was somewhat expected though. After all, the champ has an emotional attachment to his team. Did you know that he's always admired the Miami Heat, or as they were known at the time, the Heatless? Or why were they called that? Because the team sold out all the stadiums they played at. If that's not the biggest flex, I don't know what is. But now that he's finally got a good enough team, he's going to do everything in his power to help them win.
Against Chris Middleton. There's the contact, the concentration, 41.
What about everything else? Yeah, he doesn't care about that. Honestly though, the amount of time he's used the phrase "the star" should really think about making "don't care" his slogan. Whether it's anything the media or anyone else is saying about him, if he makes the All-Star team, and as we now know, if he gets into the Hall of Fame. Now here's the deal. Players only get inducted into the Hall of Fame after they've been retired for 4 full seasons. So yeah, he's still got a lot of time to think about this, and he's only 33 years old right now. It's going to be a while before he hangs up the jersey too. Before that, he's got heaps and heaps of stuff to achieve, like his team's rankings for starters. Miami Heat is standing strong at number 8 in the Eastern Conference rankings. Who knows, maybe the champ wants to focus on that for now. Everything else is secondary, even if it's the biggest honor in the world of basketball. Butler has made it clear that the Miami jersey would be the last one he wears, ever. So whether he's selected for this honor or not depends on how he can help out his team. Judging from his dedication, I'm guessing that we can expect a big jump in their rankings in the next season. After all, Butler's taken it upon himself to restore the team to its past glory. Wouldn't that be something? And if he succeeds, there's a definite Hall of Fame induction in his future, whether he chooses to accept it or not. There you have it. From only having eyes on the win and nothing else, to absolutely disregarding the narrative fans have given him. That's all for Jimmy Butler not wanting to enter the Hall of Fame.